Hello and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you very much for joining us. We've got a really exciting show planned for you today. Actually, we're going to be looking at the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced, latest DJI Enterprise drone by DJI, and it's a really cool bit of kit. Actually, I'm really pleased to also say that we're joined by Mark Coleman from GeoAccess, who fighting the elements as we speak. He's actually in the middle of a site where he's got the drone. We're going to attempt to do some live streaming and show you exactly the data quality that you're going to get from the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced. We're really excited. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. If it does, we'll get all of the footage and we'll send it out to you. Yeah, Mark, if you're still there, do you just want to say hello and we'll crack on with the first part of the webinar?
Yeah, I will indeed. Good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully you can see me and hear me okay.
Yeah.
Like George said, I'm in the middle of a very wet field at the moment, so fingers crossed the rain clears up and we can get this thing in the air.
Fantastic. Mark, thank you very much for joining us. Yeah, I almost feel jealous sitting in a warm office in Leeds. So without further ado, let's crack on and go through the slides. So just for a bit of housekeeping, make sure that you know exactly what you're looking at in terms of the screen and the questions and chat. If you do have any questions, we've got a section right at the end where myself and Mark will be answering them about what Mark's doing at the moment. Obviously, it's always nice to catch up with Mark, GeoAccess, and what they're currently doing. But also, if you've got specific questions on the drone, I'll be there to answer anything that we haven't covered today or we've only briefly covered. If you've got any chat as well, you just want to stick it in, share your LinkedIn addresses, be sure to fire them into the chat. I think last webinar we had 40 odd people, firing them through. So really good attendance on that. But we've had a really good couple of days. This is actually my fourth webinar in 2 days. So yeah, I've been really busy, but our team have been working tirelessly around the clock to get this sorted. And it's just nice to have a bit of interaction with customers on a larger scale, because we usually do these big demo days. So yeah, really excited to crack on really. So without further ado, just going on to what we'll cover exactly, we're going to go through the evolution of the Mavic, because a lot of people will know the Mavic Pro system. It's been a fan favorite of DJI's for a long time. And how DJI have now moved that into the enterprise section and the industrial side of the drone world. We'll look at the actual system itself, some of the key features, the specs of the cameras, flight times, etc., etc. And then, if all goes well, and I'm hoping that it does, we'll be able to get Mark on to do a live demonstration, stream it, of him actually going out and showing us the equipment on show. Now the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced has literally just hit the market. I think we've been run off our feet with the amount of pre-orders that shipped them out over the last couple of weeks. They're coming into the country, if I'm going to be honest, very slowly. So it's a miracle that we actually got one to Mark in the first place to do some demo work with. But Mark, your initial impressions on the drone itself?
Absolutely love it. It's an absolutely awesome bit of kit.
Fantastic. Yeah. We'll cover up a little bit more later down the line, but just to go through the evolution that I spoke about, and I think Mark, you'll agree that this is sort of a great sort of next step on for the Mavic series, because I mean I've actually got the original Mavic, series, like the first one before the 2 came out. But what we've seen is the Mavic evolve into this industrial platform, because at the end of the day, having a system you can take out that camera bag and get up in the air and do sort of a certain level of inspection or survey is a great bit of kit, and that's obviously why they brought the 2 Enterprise out with the optical zoom, and then also the thermal camera as well, which we see in the middle there, and that's all sort of come together with feedback from DJI, feedback from all our customers across the world, that the thermal camera really needed to improve. It needed to be up to a level where it could go out and you could do thermal surveys. Combat that as well with the zoom capabilities and you've really got a really great sensor. I mean, Mark, for you, I mean, I know you've been operating it for the last couple of weeks. What's your initial impression of the thermal camera in the zoom?
Yeah, the thermal camera is absolutely fantastic. That's really for us. That's what stands this apart from the previous Mavic models. We've never really looked at the Mavic series before for the work we do, but this one really caught my eye on that thermal camera. It is absolutely superb. It's nice to have the zoom. There's some really cool functions which hopefully we'll show you in a bit what the drone can do with the thermal and the visual side by side. So yeah, it's really impressive.
Brilliant. Yeah, and it's so just so everybody's aware and how to compare the new Mavic to the Enterprise Dual, it's actually 17 times more powerful in terms of the thermal image. So you'll get 17 times more resolution. So it's a 640 radiometric camera. So you actually take radiometric photos with this. So in terms of an inspection platform, it's really good for the solar side of the world, heat loss. Any sort of thermal work you're actually going to be doing. In terms of the actual system itself, it also has that RTK enabled ability. The Mavic Enterprise Dual came out with the attachment phase, basically, where you can put a beacon on there, spotlight, and also a speaker. Really good application for the likes of search and rescue. For inspection, the beacon's got its application. But the speaker and the obviously the spotlight probably, well, the spotlight obviously has an application in terms of darker inspection, but obviously with the speaker it's a bit of a gimmick. But with this RTK enabled platform, you'll be able to get to a position and stop it from wandering about. Obviously GPS, which most drones fly off, you're looking around about a 5 meter sort of sway. So when you take off and land and when it's in the air, it will try and stick to that GPS coordinate. When you've got an RTK ability, you're getting real-time kinematics to keep your drone level and stable. And when it comes to an inspection, that's really useful if you're using a zoom function, that you can zoom in and see something, that your drone's not going to start swaying about and start losing it. And it's all about that stability, really. And that's why, obviously, when that function, that feature did get announced, it wasn't so much for the survey, but for the inspection, it was a really big talking point. In terms of the actual physical appeal, Mark, because this is something we've obviously used it. I know you've used it as well. Let's talk about flight time and actually carrying it about, weight, and then also like dimensions of it. So actually the size of it, being able to store it. What's your thoughts on that? Because I know you've always been sort of a Phantom guy. You went on to the Matrice series. What's your thoughts around the size and the compact?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, so we're an asset inspection company. So the kit that we have ranges from the Phantom 4s all the way up to the M600 with the Phase 1 cameras on it. So some pretty big kit. Awesome ability to capture some ridiculously high resolution images and data. But they're quite big bits of kit and they take a bit of time to get set up. So what caught our eye with the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced was it's just so quick and easy to get airborne. You can literally be airborne in about 60 seconds from turning up on site. Some of the work we do, we have quite a big walk to get to site. So you don't want to be lugging massive boxes of M210s and M600s around. So the fact that this can be put into a bag, it's such a small bit of kit. I mean, it's normal Mavic stuff. Everything folds up on itself. It's got a really nice gimbal protector, which goes on over the front of the gimbal. So to fold up, put in a bag, get somewhere quick, get it airborne in a matter of seconds, and still be able to capture some really good quality data. It really caught our eye, and that's what made us look at it.
Fantastic. It's that quick, like, go-to, get on site and up in the air that not only inspection engineers love, but police and search and rescue. So they've got really great application, basically.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we don't really do much search and rescue stuff, but it is. I can see its appeal to that crowd as well. Very, very quick. You can get out and about. Easily get 25 minutes runtime up in the air. It comes with a smart controller, which some people love them, some people hate them. I'm actually turning to be quite a fan of it. It's really good. It's nice and bright. All the controls are there. Going from tripod mode to sport mode, everything you need is on that controller quite nicely. So,
what what was the reason for sort of not turning your nose up at it, but because initially I had the same thing, but I want to hear your sort of answer on that. What didn't you like about the idea of a smart controller?
So I don't know. It just to me, when it first came out, it felt a bit like a toy.
Right,
the whole Mavic series of drones. That's why we've never really looked at them before. I've never really looked at them in a professional capacity, and they just felt like something that people would buy and go and have a bit of a whiz round. But actually, there's some really good models there, and the drone and the controller itself, it makes sense. There's a few little niggles that DJI need to iron out, but since we've had this, there's been a couple of firmware issues released. The analysis software that you use for the thermal data, that was updated last week or the week before with a V2, which it's a bit clunky, the software, but it's really good. You can change all the parameters, you can change the emissivity, you can change the range in there, and really interrogate that thermal data really well.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, especially with the controller, because it was only in sort of the last 6 to 12 months that the drone started to come with that smart controller, even for the dual. And for me, I think the big thing when that sort of happened was, you're not going to be able to use the bigger screen. And having the big screen is good for certain applications, but when you're actually using the Mavic Enterprise Advanced, everything's so well laid out and everything's so well positioned that the user interface is really useful, especially when you have that side by side. And I'm sure you'll talk about this as well, Matt, but the side by side of the visual and the thermal, how useful is that?
Yeah, that's really useful. I mean, just touching back on the size of the screen, like you said, it's not really an issue for us. The screen is so bright and so crisp and sharp that having a slightly smaller screen, it hasn't caused us any issues at all. It's been really good. A slightly smaller screen.
Brilliant. So obviously we've got to talk about the sensors now, and DJI do mention obviously that it's a 48 megapixel sensor, and we spoke about this, Mark, on the phone a couple of weeks ago. Now that's not a true representation of the camera, because it's actually a 12 megapixel camera, which then you can able to stitch images together, which obviously we wouldn't be doing our job right if we weren't fully transparent with that, because there are a lot of marketing shots from DJI and other places where they're putting out there. Now, that's all well and good if you're getting a good single image, but for the likes of inspection, that 12 megapixel it's still a good level of quality, and especially with the zoom lens. I mean, Mark, have you found that to be? I mean, when we spoke, you still were under the impression that it was 48 megapixels. What are your thoughts on the visual side of it, rather than the thermal?
Yeah, definitely. So I think that's a typical DJI market imply. It definitely is not a 48 megapixel sensor. If you in your head, if you think of it as a 12 megapixel sensor, you won't go far wrong. Now, a lot of people will be disappointed with that, but actually, it's a really good 12 megapixel sensor, and it's all locked in auto, so you can't change the ISO or the exposure.
Yeah.
You can change the EV, but actually, this is not a mapping tool. It's not a photography tool. It's an inspection tool and search and rescue. That's where I see this market. So, actually, by having auto settings, it just takes one more thing away from the pilot to worry about. And actually, in good light, they're pretty good. The settings are absolutely fine. Yeah, really good.
Fantastic. Mark, have you just got the controller there? Do you just want to hold it up to the screen so we can sort of get a representation of size on that?
Yeah. So, don't know if you can see that.
Brilliant.
My camera's not very good, so apologies.
No. That's great, mate. That's great. Fantastic. And then, yeah, I think because obviously there's 4 times lossless, which it means optical, and then you got the 32 times. What's your impressions on the zoom?
Yeah, so the zoom is really good. So with the zoom, the 4 times lossless is exactly that. It is totally lossless zoom, and the digital, actually, the first kind of 4 or 5 steps of the digital zoom are really good. Obviously, the quality goes down quite quick when you get into the high end of the digital zoom, but it's not actually much different to the Z30 camera. If you think about it in the same respect, the Z30 camera, which we use a lot on our inspections, is only a 2 megapixel sensor. It's got a much bigger optical zoom, but actually just that zoomability is really good, and hopefully we can get it up in the air in a bit and to show you exactly how good that zoom is. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's always good to compare them to sort of, products and applications that people know, like the Z30. So yeah, really good representation to sort of compare that. We have spoke about the thermal quality because it is the main talking point. You know, the 640 radiometric thermal. I mean, you get those on the sort of the XT2s, the H20Ts, and we won't beat around the bush. They're expensive bits of kit. So putting this sort of technology on a system like a Mavic, brilliant. No, Mark?
Sorry, George, say that again. I'm in a working farm site, so I've had to move out of the way of some tractors.
I was actually just talking about the ability to, because sticking something like a H20 or an XT2 on the likes of a Mavic really gives you a powerful system.
Yeah, it does. So if people are buying it with the impression that it's going to be as good as an XT2, it's not. It's on paper, it's exactly the same spec, but the size of the lens and the field of view is just a little bit different. So it's not going to replace an XT2. For us, this is not replacing any of our kit. We use the XT2 quite a lot. This is going to complement it. So it is a 640 by 512 thermal sensor. It is on paper the same as the XT2. It's just not quite giving you the same results, mainly because the chipset. XT2 is a FLIR chipset. This is DJI's own. I think DJI are going to improve this a lot. I think there's a lot more they can do with the firmware to make this chip much, much better still.
Well, hopefully we can start seeing some big improvements over the next couple of months. You mentioned there's already been some firmware updates on the analysis tools, and I mean the drone's only just been released, so that's good news. I mean, DJI are very much want to be stick their product out there and then develop it as it goes. So hopefully we can start seeing some even bigger and better improvements.
Definitely.
And yeah, obviously we spoke about the dual vision option side by side, and hopefully we'll be able to see exactly what you're seeing on the screen. Really easy to use, really easy to move around. I know when we were flying it, that it just felt so simple. There wasn't a lag. It was one click, you opened it up. Mark, would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. So you might see a bit of a lag when I do the live stream, and that's only because of the live stream tool I'm using. But actually, on the controller, you just hit the buttons, and it's instant response, which is fantastic.
And Mark, is it worth you when we do the live streams? Is it worth you sticking the actual the link for the live stream in the chat?
I can try and do that. Yeah. So yes, let me try and do that while we're talking and see if anyone can do it direct as well.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So if anybody's watching and wants to get the actual live footage and not straight from a screen, I think that'd be a really good, because it would obviously increase the data quality. We spoke a little bit about the security side of it, and use for search and rescue and that sort of thing. But obviously, password protectors on board data storage is big for the security. I know we're talking more on the inspection industrial side, but obviously that is a big talking point. Discrete mode as well for certain operations, and then obviously the encrypted AES 256 as well. And it also comes with all the original attachments, so your beacon, your spotlight, and your speaker. And I mean, the beacon, when you're flying around areas of cranes, buildings where they need to be able to see below, it's obviously always going to be a really useful addition. If anybody does have any questions on the more search and rescue security side, drop them in the chat, and we will put them through to our specialist, Sam Dennis, who heads up the security side here at Coptrz. Already a really popular bit of kit. Safety side, we did talk a little bit about the RTK module. Obviously, it's got the air sense feature, which is a big feature of the M300s and DJI's latest equipment. Obviously, identifying nearby airplanes. 10 kilometers worth of range. Now, as great as that sounds, you still can only go a certain amount of distance due to regulations. But what that allows you to do is have a stronger signal. So if you're flying around areas where maybe metallic or mechanical interference, you're still going to have a peace of mind that you're going to be connected from controller to drone, which is obviously the right reliability factor. Collision avoidance, and this is a huge one as well. It still has all of those great sensors and up to 40 meters. So And Mark, you mentioned you put it into tripod mode.
Yeah, that's it. So quite a lot of the inspection work we do, we use tripod mode on all of our platforms. It just makes it much more, much easier to control. It slows everything down. So when you're up close and personal to stuff, it just makes it a lot easier. And actually, the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced, I believe, has got 6 direction obstacle avoidance, and the 2 sideways detections are only turned on when you're in tripod mode. So when you're in tripod mode, it's got obstacle avoidance in every single direction.
Brilliant, mate. And I think we're moving on now to, so there's I think we've got a couple more slides. I'll just make this one bigger. You've got that, have you guys? Brilliant. So we'll talk a little bit about this, and obviously the thermography training necessary, GVC or A2, depending on where you're flying. We won't go into that too much, as I believe we actually have later this afternoon a little bit more information on the training side and what we'll be doing. If anybody's got any questions about the legislations or the CAA, what we'll do is we'll jump in a chat room after the call, and a colleague of mine from the training department will be able to answer any of your questions regarding getting set up, getting the legality basically to fly these drones in built up areas or for work. Obviously, there are a couple of different packages you can get, including the Fly More kit, extra batteries, the RTK module, but really good, professionally well built bits of kit. Now, this is the moment of truth. I'm going to exit this stream, and hopefully, Mark, you'll be able to share your screen, and we can get the live stream of the drone. Yeah,
I hope so. Fingers crossed. If this doesn't work, I have a plan D. I think I'm on at the moment. So let's see what happens.
Or you can click on the link in the chat that we have actually posted, and you'll be able to see it live yourself. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get this sorted and we can see the incredible Mavic Enterprise Advanced.
Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Fantastic. Who doesn't love a live demonstration? Oh, amazing. There we go. Brilliant.
Is that there?
Yeah, you can see that.
Right, let's see what happens then. So, unfortunately, what I don't think you see on this live stream is you don't see all the telemetry data that I can see on the controller. Right. It's the camera feed. But let's see what we can show you, and hopefully we can zoom in and see some bits and pieces and go from there. Now, there is a little bit of a lag, so I'm just going to take off now, just checking the airspace. There's some big black clouds coming, so we're probably going to have about 10 minutes, I reckon.
So while Mark's flying, we'll make sure that we get some recorded footage, because we've sent out some SD cards as well. And what we'll do is over the next day or so, we will we'll get the footage through to you. It's coming through on ours a bit laggy, so if anyone wants to watch it live, they can do so through clicking that link. I'm just going to have a quick go at that myself.
Can you still hear me, George?
I can still hear you. Yeah. Oh, it's live stream is working well. Brilliant. You still with us, Mark? Just making sure we can hear you. Great stuff.
Can you see the live? Can you see the live screen?
It's I think is it working for you guys?
Mine is frozen, which is an absolute bummer.
Yeah, it might be. Let me close my one down, and we'll hopefully be able to get that sorted. But wouldn't be a demonstration day without at least one technical issue. I'm just glad it's the relay rather than the actual drone itself.
I tell you what, let's do plan D. So give me 2 seconds. I'm going to cancel the live link. I'm going to try something a bit different. It's going to be a bit clunky, but yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Might be a bit clunky. You're going to get the screen up, are we? Good stuff. So while Mark's getting that sorted, we'll just talk through, what we've got coming up and what we've got going on at the moment. So for anybody who's looking to ask any questions on the CAA side of things, the Mavic Enterprise Advanced side of things. We are going to be doing a bit of an open chat room, so you can actually come onto stage and discuss that with us, ask us questions. It won't just be myself, there'll be a couple of my colleagues from the training, that's right, isn't it, guys? Yeah, we'll have a couple of people from our team, which will be really good, really exciting. So we did one after the last demo I did this morning. We had a couple of guys in there. And then later today, we will be having survey data with Pix4D. So looking at photogrammetry, looking at using photos and videos to create point cloud data and 3D reconstructions. And then at 5, really exciting actually, we've actually got the Public Safety Summit. Now, it's not very often that we can get these many important people in one room together. It's a good job we've got them over virtual. We've got the Northampton Search and Rescue. We've actually got a representative from Flare, we've got Randall Warner, Norfolk Fire, and we've also got West Yorkshire Police as well. So we're going to talk about all things drone related to what they're doing. Really exciting stuff. And then finally, we've got Coptrz Recognition Awards with Steve, and we're going to be looking at basically just a bit of a roundup of the week, what's new in the industry, what's going forward, and just a bit of a recognition for what the amazing work people are doing out there. I mean, I did a bit of a talk on the Energy Summit this morning at 10, and the big thing was it was all about a bit of entrepreneurialism and innovation, and looking at new ways to use technology like drones to create and capture great data. Now I think Mark's with us, so I'll give him a couple of seconds just to get set. And
can you hear me there, George?
I can hear you loud and clear, Mark. So this is like a POV, is it?
Yeah. Can you see the screen? Okay, is that all right?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. If you want to just pull it down a little bit so you've got your chest over the yeah, brilliant there. It's very bright. That's great.
There you go. If you want to, if it needs to go up or down, just give me a shout because I'm just in front of the webcam. So that's we're currently hovering about 10 meters above a roof at the moment. So it's usual functions with the old pan and tilt, but just to show you some of the zoom capability. So that's normal field of view. That's 2 times lossless zoom. That's 4 times. Let's go up onto one of these joints because this is where it gets a bit.
Mark, do you just want to pull the top of the controller towards you a tiny bit and then up, and then we'll yeah.
How's that?
That's brilliant. That's perfect. So we're looking at the visual side. So
this is just visual, yeah. So this is 8 times. So we're into digital zoom now, and we're not really lost much quality at all.
Have you got this on? Have you got this on tripod mode?
This is just in normal mode at the moment.
Right, brilliant.
So that's 16 times zoom. So just to zoom back, we'll go to 32. 32. That's maximum visual zoom. Pretty grainy, but if you look at the difference between 16, perfectly usable for our inspections. We would be more than happy using that kind of level of zoom. Back to 8 times zoom. We're still in digital. Now we're in lossless. So that's 4 times zoom. That's 2 times, and that is widescreen. So quite an impressive zoom camera. Hopefully on that one, I think you'll think.
So just before you move on, Mark, so we've got flight telemetry at the top. So that's battery life. We've got the capture functions on the right. And then you've got the actual mapping system on the bottom left, and that is obviously GPS location where you are. And so when you actually set up your pre-flights, that's where you'll see.
That's right. Yeah. When you mark the return to home, it will show you in there where your home position is.
Fantastic. So I think everybody is eager to see. So
this is thermal now. So this is just I haven't changed any of the settings. This is straight out of the box. So this is thermal setting. So straight away we can do field correction, flat field correction. So it's got the calibrated button, so you can calibrate the sensor. It's got auto function built in as well. On the color palettes, you can choose different thermal color palettes.
Fantastic. You can also do sort of isotherms as well if you're looking for different temperatures.
Yeah.
So you've got a wide range. Yes. Let's go.
We can do white spot. We can do black hot spot. You've got rainbow. They're all pretty standard color changes that are in there, which is quite nice. Touch anywhere on the screen and it'll give you the spot temperatures, which is quite good.
Brilliant. So the radiometric function.
Yeah, you can draw a box and it'll give you your max, your mins, and your averages down the bottom here. I don't know if you can see that. So I've drawn a box around that.
it highlights where the max and the min are with a red dot and a blue dot, and then along the bottom it's got your average, your max and your min, as well as the temperature limit. So you can set temperature alarms in here as well, so it'll notify you if you reach a certain temperature.
So I imagine for an application side of it, if you're doing a flight along sort of solar panels and you find that there's a heat spot, it'll immediately alert you that there's an inconsistency. It's met the threshold for that temperature, right?
Yeah, definitely. And if you look at the heat loss on pipes or anything like that, really good function.
Fantastic. Do you want to take it up a little bit further and we'll just get a bit more of an overview?
Yeah, definitely. So let's
just go on. The 30 hertz, you can really tell it's very smooth. Even through webcam doing a webinar, that's very impressive.
So it is a mile away from the Mavic Dual. It's just such a better platform.
Mark, do you just want to stick it in split as well, so we can see what?
So this is the function. This is the function I like. Well, actually, while we're in thermal, you can also it's got thermal zoom as well, so you can actually. I'm recording, so it won't let me do it. Hang on. So you can.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Thermal zoom. So it is digital. Quality does go down quite quickly with the thermal zoom, but it is quite a nice function, particularly if you're looking for missing people. So search and recovery would be fun.
Absolutely. Well, that's the great thing about the having the dual capabilities. If you found sort of a body or something of importance, you can zoom straight in there. Use the thermal zoom as well.
Definitely. And then probably my favourite function on here is you can do the split screen. So hit the split button. It gives you your visual RGB feed, and it gives you your thermal feed, and you can zoom them together. So you can zoom in, and it zooms both cameras at the same time. Not exactly the same field of view, but not far off, to be fair.
Bloody hell.
When you take images, so when you take an image, it captures 3 images for every image you take. It captures a thermal image, captures the RGB image, then it captures this image where you got them side by side.
Brilliant.
So for comparison purposes, you've got lots and lots of data there to look at. And to change between them, it's literally you just click these buttons on the side, and that's how quick it changes. Within a fraction of a second.
Somebody's just put in the chat, can't believe how far tech has come. I mean, I can't believe how far it's come in the last sort of 6 to 12 months. This is really, really impressive.
Amazing,
yeah, we could spend the next 15 minutes of your battery looking at this.
I've got a big cloud coming over, so if there's anything else you want to see while the drone's in the air, I think we've probably got a few minutes and then it's going to start raining again.
Yeah, of course. Well, just so everybody's aware, just before Mark did come onto the chat, he was, were you hit by a sleet storm? What was it?
We've had all 4 seasons in one day today. So we've had sleet, we've had wind, we had a thunderstorm earlier. We've had a bit of sunshine, so it's all looking like it's going to happen again.
Mark, do you just want to try and zoom in on the building in front by one of the windows with the zoom functionality and try and move that down, because obviously you've got the paddles at the back to move off. Yeah, there you go, brilliant.
So that's 8 times, so 16. So we're just coming into digital zoom. You can start telling it's a bit grainy now, but still perfectly usable. I mean, if we go up to the horizon while we're on 16 zoom.
Wow.
And that's, you can just start seeing this. That's actually snow, I think. Surely not. I mean, the distance from that house to here is probably nearly 100 meters, I'd say. So that's
Mark, you're a warrior working out in these sort of temperatures. So I really do appreciate your time on it.
Let me just bring this back into land, if that's okay, and then we can carry on chatting if you want.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely, that was amazing. That's exactly what we expected. Yeah, we'll let Mark bring it down, and then we'll do a bit of a Q&A. But hopefully, we'll be able to share some of that footage with everybody through sort of sticking it on our YouTube channel or something like that. And then we can start with some Q&A. So we got some decent questions come through. Yeah, got quite a few. Brilliant, great stuff. I'll let Mark do his thing. Obviously, he's all CAA approved and stuff.
Okay.
So it's not got an official IP rating, but I mean, none of the Mavics do. That's where the Matrice or something with an actual IP rating of, say, like IP45 will handle. But it's a sturdy bit of kit, you know. It's a system which isn't gonna break down overnight just because of a bit of moisture. Wind resistance as well, Mark. Do you find that being in a bit of I don't know, a bit of wind affects the flight much?
Yeah, so it is a little bit buffety with the wind being such a small light drone, but it's kind of on par with a Phantom 4, I'd say. Maybe a little bit more buffety. To be honest, if you're doing inspections and you want to be up close and personal, you don't really want to be in those kind of winds anyway. So we've not found anything that stopped us from flying, put it that way.
Fantastic. Well, let's crack on straight onto some of the questions. So, I mean, in terms of, there's a question here about optical cameras. What cameras have optical zoom? You're looking at your H20 series. I mean, this has got 4 times, and then also your Z30, which we've spoken about. And Mark, comparing this to your Z30, obviously Z30 is a bit more powerful, but you know, is it up there with the Z30?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, actually. So the Z30's got a much higher optical zoom limit on it, but it's got a much lower quality sensor in the first place. Yeah. So I'd say I'd almost be tempted to say they were kind of even pegged. Obviously, the benefit of having that zoom capability on the Mavic is literally the speed of getting it out on site. You know, you can turn up to site and you can be airborne in literally minutes. Whereas with the bigger platforms, it takes a bit longer to get them set up and get up in the air.
Fantastic. In terms of second controllers, now you do have the ability to have a second controller. We don't have one on site today.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it, George? So when it first came out, I don't think DJI had that built in, but they are going to have that ability. So it can be 2 controllers, which is great. Again, you know, it's just another step. But I think we're going to see quite a few little tweaks from DJI on this platform over the next few months. I think the firmware is going to be updated quite a lot.
Absolutely. I'm just going through some of the questions for yourself. In terms of batteries, how quickly do you find that it takes to charge it to full?
About an hour. Yeah, about that, maybe a bit longer. So I think the smart controller takes about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
The little charger you get on, forgive me because I've never had a Mavic before, so I don't know if this is standard kit, but you get a kind of charging block, which has got the adapter to plug one battery in. A whole array of mains leads for every country you could possibly think of.
I think that's just with the demo kit, actually.
There we go. You can charge one battery, about an hour from completely empty, which is great.
Fantastic. Just what have you been doing today, Mark? Where are you?
So I'm actually on a farm in Staffordshire. So we've been doing some inspections down here today. So I've decided to set up this little site here, but everybody's decided to come round with tractors at the moment. So apologies for the background noise.
You're absolutely fine, mate. It sounds brilliant. You know, proper industrial sort of stuff. Any last words for the drone itself? What would you?
I mean, I guess, like I say, for us, it's all about portability. If people are going to buy it expecting to be able to do all sorts of bits and pieces with it, it's only a tool at the end of the day. So I think watching some webinars earlier on as part of this series, I mimic everyone's thoughts and feelings. Drones are a tool. You've got to know how to use them. I own spanners in my garage, but it doesn't make me a mechanic. So if people are going to buy this kit, the Mavic included, and think that they can go and do roof inspections and do thermal inspections and haven't got the training, then they need the training to back that up. But as a platform, it's a fantastic tool, very mobile. One of the things I didn't like about the first demo that we never had this little gimbal cover. I don't know if you can see on here, but it now comes with this gimbal protection. So it totally locks the gimbal in place. So when it's all packed down, you can literally put it in a bag. And that gimbal with that really sensitive lens on the thermal camera is nicely protected, which I'm really pleased with that one. Really, really good.
Amazing, mate. Amazing. Mark, I really appreciate your time today. It's been fantastic. Great demo as always. I think the hardest thing is doing a live demo, and doing a live demo over from, you know, one end of the country to the other via live stream is always going to be tricky. But I think we actually, Plan D, as we called it, brilliant. You know, actually seeing your screen, seeing you control it, seeing how easy it is to use was amazing. I think couldn't have asked for much more.
Yeah, no worries. And like I say, I've got some footage, so I'll send the footage to you guys to share out if you want with nothing. And as always, if you want to share my contact details, if anybody's got any questions, more than happy to answer questions about the Mavic. People want to know anything?
Absolutely. I mean, Mark's contact details will be on our newsletter with this as well. So if anyone wants to get in contact with Mark, maybe about potential job collaboration, you know, even just questions, feel free to smash that through to him. Really great company, really great guy. The package options are on our screen now. If anybody is interested in coming through to those, it's not private, but like sort of team, sort of live sessions, feel free to. We're going to get some questions about the CAA training and the equipment in general with some of our specialists and our experts. But I think that is it. Thank you very much for joining us. It's as always, Mark, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me and you know, showing, you know, a great bit of equipment from a great company. So yeah, any last words?
No, likewise, it's always a pleasure, George.
Fantastic. Really appreciate it, Mark. Guys, head over to the live rooms. It should be in the chat now, I believe. My colleagues just posted that in, where we'll have questions and all sorts going on there. But for me, that's everything. Next, we've got Parrot and AFA USA with Asif from Parrot, then on to survey data with Pix4D at 3:45. And we've also got that really cool public safety summit coming up at 5 o'clock. And then the last one of the two-day event at 6:30. So I think Airworks, Aero Media are going to be doing some recognition awards for us. So brilliant. Yeah, I can't thank Mark enough again, and everybody who's joined us. It's it's gone really well. Our marketing team, hats off to you guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Stay safe.